July the 12th, 1916.
What is your,
Osmond, Nebraska, I wrote that down. I said that.
what is your age now?
72.
Okay. What kind of shelter did you have?
Well, we had barns and straw sheds for the cattle and sheep, whatever we had.
Did you have any kind of special meals?
Well, they weren't so special, but they were good. We had oatmeal and cornmeal and milk, eggs, and meat and bacon, and sometimes cottontails and jackrabbits.
How many kids were in your family?
9.
What were their names?
Christina and Elsie and Willie and Rosie and Alvina and Esther and John and Philip.
Where did your parents first settle when coming to South Dakota?
In Gregory County.
In your childhood, what were your activities you did?
Oh, we played ball and many other games.
What kind of games did you play?
Oh, like Bring Around the Rosier.
How did you make your living?
Oh, we raised hogs and cattle and pigs
Okay.
and had chickens and we had eggs and plenty to
Did
eat.
you sell your eggs?
Yeah, we did.
How much did you get for them?
Well, not very much. Maybe 12 cents a dozen.
Did you have a church or was Sunday a complete rest?
You know, we had a church out in the country.
What was one of the happiest moments of your life?
When we got out of school.
Was there any other ones?
Oh, I suppose when we got married.
What was one of the saddest moments of your life?
The depression of the, what do you call it, the dirty 30s.
Okay. Would you like to go back to those times?
No, I wouldn't. They're lots better now.
Can you can you compare life today with those of your younger days?
Well, they're lots better than they used to be. We got electricity now and can milk the cows by electricity and all the other things that go with it, electricity, like lights and water and Frigidaires, televisions, radios, not all.
Did you have many natural disasters like blizzards, dust storms, prairie fires, or grasshoppers?
Well, we had many blizzards and a lot of dust storms and a lot of grasshoppers, which were terrible.
Were the grasshoppers really bad?
Yeah, they were. They sit on the fence posts. They were just covered thick. You couldn't even see the fence posts.
Well, how do you celebrate on holidays?
You mean like Christmas? Or?
Yeah.
Well, we kind of get together and give each one a gift and so on. Easter the same way.
How did you preserve your food?
Well, we had a cellar mostly. You mean like putting in and
Yeah.
salt down our meat and smoked it. We had smoked sausage and stuff like that.
Did you go on any big trips?
Well, not really. Just with the train once in a while when we was younger, and that was
Where'd
our
you
big
go?
trip.
Where'd you go?
Well, to Nebraska, Osmond, Nebraska, and back up here to South Dakota.
How often did you go?
Oh, maybe once or twice in 10 years.
What was the depression like?
Well, I'd say it was terrible. You know, everything was cheap and you couldn't get nothing for what when you sold something, it was so cheap, you didn't know if you could buy anything or not. But
What do you think life will be like 20 years from now?
well, I think in 20 years from now, there will be many computers and too much fertilizer going into the ground, poisoning all the water.
If you could change anything, would you?
I would change the world to be a world of peace and no more wars and be free of diseases.
What type of crops did you raise?
We raise corn, oats, rye, barley, and cane.
Is there any others?
Potatoes, garden, and vegetables.
Can you describe one day at school?
Recess when we played ball and the girls won the game.
Who sticks out the most in your life?
My family as they were growing up and all the good times we had.
What types of roads or transportation did you have?
We had dirt roads and horses and trains for transportation.
Where did you go when you went to town?
Mostly to the grocery store and sometimes took our cream and eggs to the produce station.
Were there many peddlers or gypsies around?
Yes, we had a lot of peddlers and gypsies coming to our place and beg for food. Okay.
What type of local organizations did you have?
We had farmer union meetings and programs in school and Sunday school and Bible school.
What sort of sports did you do?
We did fishing and ball games and hunting and trapping.
Were they lots of fun?
Yes, there were.
How much did you get for your crops?
About $1 a bushel for corn and 30 cents for a bushel of oats and 25 cents for a bushel of rye.
How was your wedding?
We had a small wedding and a big charivari.
How are the dirty 30s?
Well, the dirty 30s were terrible. We started getting no rain. It got so hot and dry. When the wind came up, it blew so much dirt, and it covered many fences and fence posts. If you wanted to dry clothes, you would have to dry them early in the morning before the wind started blowing. We never raised no crops, so the men had to go out west and make hay at Oak Creek, South Dakota, and then bring it home with the trucks. The women had to stay home and take care of the chores and the children. Next came the grasshoppers. They were so thick they ate most anything. They finally got some poison to kill some of them, and it got better. No, I would not like to go back to these times. We are sure we should be glad we're having better times now.
Where are the schools and churches located at?
The schools and the churches were mostly located out of town.
What about electricity?
Well, we never had electricity like we do now. We had to drive with team and wagons or the buggy.
What's the population like?
Well, the population was about 100 in Gregory, South Dakota, and the towns were smaller, but you could buy lots cheaper clothing and lots of cheap groceries. You could buy a pair of shoes for $1.50, and we'd only go to town about once or twice a week. We never had no business places, just a few.
What type of subjects did you have in school?
Reading and writing and arithmetic and spelling.
Is there any others?
Language. Geography. One time we had a program in school and we tried to have plays like that, and nobody was supposed to tell anything to anybody. And the teacher said if any of the kids would ask us a question, why they would say we were supposed to say to them, "The Crosity killed a cat."
You went to a one-room school. Can you tell us about it?
Well, we had a one-room schoolhouse with about 30 to 40 children in it, and only one teacher to teach all the grades. We had a big coal stove to keep us warm, and we got our drinking water from a close neighbor by.
What type of law enforcement is there? What is there?
There isn't too much difference. It's about just like now.
What type of shelter did you have?
In a wood house we lived.
What type of religion were you?
Well, we belonged to the Lutheran Church in Charlotte, South Dakota.
How did you celebrate the 4th of July?
Well, we went to the parade, and then they had merry-go-rounds and Ferris wheels and carnivals and
Did they sell cotton candy there?
yes, they sold cotton candy to the kids, and we just looked at everything else. Had a lot of things there.
What other kinds of rides were there?
Let's see.
Okay. Did you make any movements in your lifetime?
We moved on the Hanson place north of Gregory when we got married, then on the Valser place, and then to the Peterson place, and then on the place where we live now. It's called the Fandle Farm.
Oops. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Well, I would like to say I like to live in the good old state of South Dakota.